Today on the Sane Estate, capturing Ipswich in 2D, accessible art is a thing, and orchestral maneuvers on the hill? My conversation with Dan Lovy. Welcome to the Sane Estate, where Ipswich stories unfold one conversation at a time, unlike town meeting. I'm your host, John Woolforth, and today we're talking to someone who seems to be woven into every artistic and community thread in town. Photographer, digital media veteran, and president of Orchestra on the Hill, Dan Lovy. Dan, welcome to the Sane Estate.
Thank you, John. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We do these kinds of things. So, a lot of people in Ipswich know you as the guy with the camera. And you're the one who quietly documents the life of the town, from concerts to memorials to waterfront festivals. But that's only one part of what you do. You also serve as president of Orchestra on the Hill, as we mentioned, play a big role in our local arts ecosystem, and bring more than 35 years of digital media experience. 35 years.
It's
you don't
frightening
look that
how,
old.
well, thank you. I appreciate that. Sometimes it feels it, though.
I get you. So, all right, so 35 years of digital media experience into everything you touch in Ipswich, which is, we're all better for it. Well, why don't we start at the beginning? How did you end up in Ipswich, and what path led you into this mix of photography, arts leadership, and community involvement?
Well, I actually came here after a life-threatening illness, and
that's not good.
So Ipswich was a place to recover and recuperate, and so my first few years in Ipswich was literally in rehabilitation and getting my life back. But it really caused me to slow down a little bit.
Sure.
And so I had never really connected to the towns that I've lived in the way I've connected with Ipswich, and I think it was because I wasn't focused on much else, and so it allowed me to make those kinds of connections.
That's deep.
Yeah, and I'm still here.
It's fortuitous,
Yes.
I guess, right? I mean, it's sort of ordained the way that things should have gone for you, right?
I think so.
I hear you. I'm the same way. I mean, we came here and just fell in love with it. Didn't think we were gonna, and we're like, well, look, yeah. And then we said, wow, this place is cool.
I spent a lot of time in the Boston area, and the North Shore always seemed very far away, that I couldn't, in my wildest imagination, think that I would live so far north. But life is what happens when you're busy making plans. So.
Well, that's interesting, because my family, my immediate siblings live, most of them, on the South Shore.
Yeah.
And they will not cross that magical border to the north.
Yeah.
No, we can't do that. There'd be dragons,
Yeah.
or whatever. So anyway, all right. So we know you're the president of Orchestra on the Hill, which has become one of Ipswich's most declining. Declining?
No, it's not. We're not declining.
Defining. No, yeah, we're going up.
We're going up.
We're defining cultural institutions in this town. So what first you drew into the orchestra, and what does your work there look like behind the scenes?
Well, I was actually getting together with Tom Palance, who is the founder and director of the Orchestra on the Hill, and at the time I was just connecting with him I was involved with a swing dance group.
Ooh.
And I was just talking to him about different bands and music, and he said, maybe you might be interested in what I'm doing with this orchestra. And so he gave me a link to a video that they produced of the making of one of their previous concerts. Mm-hmm. And I watched it and I said, wow, that's a really interesting concept, just the way that it's put together and the way it connects to other arts. And I came back and said, I'm in. What can I do? And so literally one thing led to another, and they had the poor judgment to elect me president.
Unanimously.
It was unanimous, but sometimes it was but and who else are you going to get, right?
Oh, yeah.
And the odd part is I have absolutely no musical background at all. I'm tone deaf.
I was going to say,
my standard joke is, because everyone always asks me, what do you play? And I say, the radio.
That's there you go. Tennis. I play, gin. I don't know, but yeah, that's
so we So I said, okay. I get out. I'm going to have my first board meeting, and I get this big old presentation ready, kind of outlining how we're going to work and all this. And literally that morning, Massachusetts issued the edict that no more outdoor performances, or no more performances whatsoever due to COVID.
COVID, yeah.
And that puts a damper on a performance group. And so we had this meeting, and we said, we've got one of two choices. We will either curl up in our corner and cry, or we'll figure something out. And so we decided not to curl up in a ball and cry, and we went virtual, and we just, through that whole period, figured things out. Our donors really stepped up because they knew how important this was.
Right.
And I have to say, it really kind of pulled the group together as a group, because we were in this shared challenge.
Right. That's cool. So there was some camaraderie there. I guess for most people during those days, there was a lot of camaraderie.
And no one had ever dealt with that before.
Exactly.
And we had a moment when, just as COVID was ending, for a time the town meeting was being held in a large tent out by the high school. Mm-hmm. And so the town manager called me up and said, "We have this tent, but it's not going to be taken down for a day. Would you like to use it?" So he said, "Sure, let's do a concert."
Yeah.
And so this was literally the first live outdoor performance in a few years.
Wow.
And literally people were just so happy and grateful to be able to gather and hear music.
Right.
So it was just a great experience for everyone, to have that kind of shared moment with us as an orchestra, to finally play together, and to share with the community, who hadn't really been able to gather for a long time.
For a while, yeah. That was, I'm sure, a stress release of some type.
Yeah, it was very nice. It was, we were projecting images up on the side of the tent, and just to have live music and live original composition and all that. So
happy day.
It was a happy day.
There you go. Well, recent seasons from the orchestra seem noticeably more ambitious, right? I mean, more collaborative, more forward plan. So what's driving the shift, do you think? What opportunities or pressures are shaping the arts landscape on the North Shore?
Well, so in terms of our growth, I'd have to say it's by design. That if you're not growing, if you're not challenging what you're doing, then you're not, why do
boring.
So we pride ourselves on our collaborations that we do. So we're always reaching out, and we pride ourselves on our original composition and our original composers.
Not that you wrote any, but right?
No, they let me dot an I occasionally. So
collaboration.
Right? That's right. So they one of the things that we've been trying to do is try to think about things beyond the next concert. So we're now in a mode, and it took us a while to get there, where we plan a year in advance. Mm-hmm. That in the summer we say, what are we going to do for the next year? And that was a change in how the organization operated. And so we're trying to become that kind of next level group. And so when you start planning a year in advance, before you know it, you're planning 2 years in advance. So we're literally thinking about what's going to happen the year after next.
So you're embracing the 6 Ps here.
How many, whatever number of Ps you got.
Yeah,
so.
Proper planning prevents
that's right.
Poor performance, right?
That's right. Got to do some reading on my management books. So
there you go. I guess I could say piss. That's what it was. Anyway, now I admit
Yep.
it. All right. Strong arts communities tend to have strong...
I'm not throwing you for a loop or anything like that. So
No, nah. I could take it, I think. So anyway, strong arts communities, that's us.
Yes.
They tend to have a strong real estate appeal, right? I mean, I think obviously one of the things people embrace when they come to Ipswich is the culture. There's so much of it. So you're in a unique position to see that intersection. How do cultural institutions like Orchestra on the Hill shape people's experience as looking at Ipswich as a place to live? Like, what drives them to feel like it's a place they want to embrace?
Well, I have to say there is a very definite Ipswich vibe that's different than particularly our neighboring communities. It is.
I caught that too.
And it's hard to describe it, but viewing it through kind of an arts lens, there's an awful lot going on.
Yeah.
Where on this planet would you find 5 world-class composers in one town?
That's crazy.
And,
well, I don't even know that.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Really?
Yeah. And to find the level of just our visual artists, if you attend the Ipswich the ICC art show every year, you're just astounded. And the requirement for that art show is you have to be an Ipswich resident. So everything you see in that show is from someone in Ipswich.
That's impressive too. Yeah. I've seen it. I've been impressed by the work. A lot of it is pretty amazing, and again, like you said, creative. So that's something to be proud of.
Yeah, and that's hard. That's hard to find.
I hear you. Well, your photography portfolio. Let's go there because there's your art, right? To some degree.
That's my art. Yes.
Yeah. That captures everything from concerts to veterans memorials to the Schooner Festival. So along the way, what insights have you picked up about the way Ipswich has evolved to move, gather, and form a better community? I mean, obviously, when you're taking these photos, you're capturing a moment that sort of sends a message. I mean, every picture is worth 1,000 words, right? So, where do you see that, or what do you see out of that?
I guess for me, it's been a way for me to connect with the community. That you get to know a lot of people, I got back into photography after taking a course from Ipswich's own Stony Stone.
Stoney.
Stoney,
yeah,
yes,
amazing.
Stoney. And one of his lessons is you need to shoot every day. And that's the only way you're ever going to develop any kind of skill. So I've taken that to heart. Ipswich does have a lot of it's pretty. It's a nice New England town. A lot of photographic moments, but it's fun to just see the people,
right?
And get to know people. And it's it's allowed me to connect with more of the community than if I wasn't doing that. That's right. And I have to say, I photograph a lot of the local musicians. If you're playing at Zoomies, you'll run into me.
That's awesome. Yeah, Zoomies. That's a lot of interesting stuff that goes through there. You got the poetry nights. You got the like you said, the bands that come and go whenever. I don't even know how he does it all, but
he actually schedules quite a bit out now. That and his art show that's rotating.
Umesh, we're talking about.
Yeah,
right?
Umesh, yes.
That's great.
Shout out to Zoomies. Shout out to Zoomies.
And I'll tell you, that was one of the things that I really loved when we visited. First place, I'm always looking for a coffee, independent coffee house, not a Starbucks. I drink Starbucks, but I would rather have an independent one, right? If they support your local vendor. And I saw that and I was like, wow, this is a nice little town with a great little coffee coffee house. There we go.
Well,
anyway.
and more shout out to Zoomies. He's a huge supporter of what we do. If you attend a concert and if there's coffee at intermission, he's provided it. So.
I've heard he's very generous.
He is.
I think there are a lot of people in this town that just sort of engenders that.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, anyway, you have decades of experience. I don't know how you do that at 39. In digital media, and now serve as executive co-director of Health Grid Alliance. How's that background shaped the way you tell stories, virtually and organizationally, in this town?
Well, if you do this kind of work, selling ideas and presenting things, you learn over time that it's rarely about logic. It's more about stories. And if you can tell a story as you're presenting that connects with people, you're much more effective than if you try to win, win through a logical set of arguments. And so that, and I think that's carried over into a lot of the things that I do here, and that if you can engender a sense of connection and culture, that carries the day.
Right. So it's visual storytelling, right? But do you think that the whole aspect of it and everyone that contributes, like, is capturing a moment in time of the town and it's the activities of the town or whatever, right? I mean, in the long run, this is painting a whole new picture of the future in a way. And this is just my riff on this.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also, foretelling just the beauty and culture that's going to evolve, as we mentioned earlier about evolving. It's always just going to go forward and improve. And I think I get a lot of that feeling. I think when I came into town and I saw some of the art and some of the things and some of the homes, even, the older
Mm-hmm.
homes, the historical homes, I was like, wow, there's a lot of culture, there's a lot of story here, a lot of history, right? Which all told stories to get us to where we are. So I think that is important. What you do is an important part of that. We have to have this photographic evidence, these photographic stops along the way, right?
Yeah, no, it was interesting. I did do you know Gordon Harris?
I've been
Gordon's
in
our
touch with
town-
Gordon. Gordon, I'm trying to get you on the show, buddy.
Oh yeah, I'll put in a good word. No, he and he has just an amazing collection of old photographs of Ipswich.
Yeah.
From like the late 1800s, early 1900s. And so what we did was we took those photographs and then rephotographed the same place, from the same place at the same view to show what happened over the last 120 years. And so
yeah.
we put that together in this this presentation to show at Illumination a few years ago.
Uh-huh.
And we decided that rather than giving people all these labels to read about the year and the location and all that, we'd just be completely blank. We'd show the old photograph, we'd dissolve to the new photograph, and then we'd dissolve to that photograph in color. And
Wow.
that was it. And what we discovered was people were enjoying not being told what it was, that the engagement of, let me see if I can figure that out. Like, oh, wait a second. Yeah, that was the old A&P. That's now the Rite Aid.
That's
that kind of thing. And so
you're getting them involved.
Yeah, yeah.
right?
And it was about a 25 minute loop.
Yeah.
And I would sit in the back and just see how people were responding to it. And people would come and stay for the whole thing, because it was, waiting to see what image would come up next and what connection they might have had with that, and see if they could, when they saw the original, see if they could recognize it before the overlay came on.
And how'd that pan out?
It was great. It was more engaging than I thought it was going to be. I thought people were going to walk by and go, oh, that's interesting, that's cute, but the number of people that watched it for a long period of time, like the full loop, and then got very excited to see what it looked like, and then to guess where it was, and then see what it looked like today.
That's that's a great idea, and I think why people, like you said, why they enjoyed it was you're pulling them into it, right?
Yeah.
People like to, and I think a lot of people in this town are imaginative, and I think that's important. You probably wouldn't enjoy it if you weren't imaginative, right? To some degree, you have to think about, okay, how'd that happen?
Yeah.
What was done to make the house or the building or whatever it is now versus what it was then, and those kinds of things. So all those ideas go through your head. Fantastic stuff.
Yeah.
Something consistent in your work, whether photography or orchestra, is your emphasis on accessibility, making the arts feel open and welcoming. What barriers do you see, and how do you try to break them down?
Barriers. One of our core principles in terms of how we operate the orchestra is to make it as accessible as possible.
Yeah.
We do that through a combination of our sponsorships and our donors, but we're a nonprofit. our goal is to bring what we do to as many people as possible, just as a mission. And same thing. And and I'll put a quick plug in for the Ipswich Community House project that I'm involved with. Doing the same thing, that we're trying to create something that's as open and accessible to as many people as possible.
Elaborate a little bit more on the Ipswich Community House. I've heard of it. I think
Sure.
somebody else mentioned it, but I'm not sure exactly what it means and what its goal is.
Well, if everyone knows Ipswich, it is the Living Faith Methodist Church up on the top of the hill. Had a serious, devastating accident a number of years ago. The roof fell in.
I heard about that.
So they've been repairing it, and we, as part of the arts community, approached Adam Randazza, who's the pastor, and said, "What happens if, when it's not being used as a church, it can serve as a community house?"
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Yes." So we've been working for the past 3 years to do all that we need to do to make that happen. It's officially opening December 7th, and so we're starting to plan events. Our hope is, over time, it becomes a place where Ipswich can gather. Where we have no shortage of ideas. The Orchestra on the Hill is going to use it as a stable venue.
Nice.
But you can imagine the art shows. We've been talking about, what happens if there's a summer movie night. Some of the events that
that's a great idea.
That might happen at the town hall gym can start happening there.
Yeah.
So it's very exciting. We're eager to start showing it.
Yes, that's pretty intriguing, and again, that shows the generosity of this town doing things like that. I mean, what can you say? It's a great. Whose idea was it to ask the pastor?
Actually, we were looking at different sites, and Gordon Harris made the suggestion because it's an 1859 building, so he knew a lot about the history, and so he said, you should talk to Adam. So we went to talk to Adam, and his view was, as a church, this is how this is how one way to connect with the community. I mean, you talk to a lot of people in town, and they say, "Oh yeah, my parents got married there, but I've never been inside." And
That's odd.
it's such a landmark, and they're just people who've never actually. And it's just absolutely beautiful inside. We'll be able to have at the beginning audiences of 250 people, and there's kind of a downstairs area that will also have activities, and so we're in discussions with the library, for example, to be able to extend those kinds of programs, to there as well.
Does Doug Brendel know about this? Because
He does. Yes.
He could put on one of his plays there.
Yeah. No. And because when they reconstructed it, there was a decision made not to put pews back in, but to put chairs. So it can be configured however you would like based on whatever event.
I mean, do they hold religious services still there?
Yes, it will still function as a church. But in the times when it's not functioning as a church, which is most of the time, we've taken on the task of managing, managing the non-church kinds of activities.
So is it? So they keep the church. Obviously, they have the chairs there. So what I'm trying to get at is, so when they have a religious service, they use the chairs, not the pews.
Correct. No pews.
So wow, that's cool. So you kick back, the reclining kind, with the
not like a AMC movie theater. No, but we can arrange them however is appropriate for whatever event.
That's the way to hear a sermon, though, I would think. Just
kick
back.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, there's going to be a large screen that can come down, so we can have audio, movies and different kinds of presentations.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's really amazing. Again, I'm really happy.
It's been fun to show. If you've ever heard the bell ringing at odd times during the day, that's me giving a tour.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So this is the first stop. If you take the tour, I let you ring the bell.
I just thought I heard it in my head. I was like, oh, there's an idea. Not that I had one. That was the weird part. I just heard the bell.
Yep.
All right, good. Just clarify that. So what's the hidden Ipswich that people don't talk about enough? Meaning, is it something that makes you optimistic about where Ipswich's arts and community life are heading that a lot of people don't see? And they eventually will.
It always does my heart good to see more young people at our shows, at our performances. And I'm seeing more and more of that. Interesting. A hidden Ipswich. I would just encourage people who aren't as aware to just get out. Don't there are people who I run into who haven't engaged, and despite all my prodding, haven't. And so I would say I would just encourage people to just get out there. There's always an art show going on. We have concerts, three times a year.
Yeah. But this is what I'm saying. Like for me, I didn't know about the 5, award-winning composers that live in town.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Right? I didn't know about the Ipswich Community House. This whole thing that's
Come
coming
down
up.
to the Mayflower on Tuesday nights. Here's some jazz jazz quintet from Tom Palance and his group.
Yeah, but we've been meaning to hit that. We
You
always say,
see,
"Oh,
that's
gotta
the
go."
problem. You've been meaning to. You gotta get out there and do it.
I know. I deserve the scolding. You're
Yeah.
correct. You really should, again, support the local bands if you
yeah.
can, right? If you like it, right? And then maybe, I could go in there and do some jokes.
There you go.
They'll be really bad jokes, but I could try. Maybe. We don't want to go too far.
Yeah. You were talking about connection. With one of our concerts, the way it was structured is we went out to local schools and we had students write poems about imaginary creatures that gave them hope. And so
Ooh,
we took
interesting.
what they wrote, and then we composed original music to that.
Really?
And so it was a great concert. We'll probably we'll probably do that again. And so we're getting ready for our first performance, and the mother of one of the children wrote us this note and saying how he had just such a hard year, and it was difficult. A lot of things going on, but this project and this assignment gave him such hope and joy. And so we get this note, and we decide to share it and read it to the orchestra.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to tell you, there wasn't a dry eye. Where everyone's getting ready for the performance, and it just it really it was the reason we wanted to do these kinds of things.
Yeah.
And to have that kind of that response and to have that kind of effect on someone.
Well, we know that music is very emotional. That's what most people get from it. Obviously, some sort of catharsis.
Yep.
And so I can imagine what that would have done for the children.
Yeah, it was. And so another example was we do an annual concert at the Crane Estate called Harvest and Harmony.
Mm.
And we use that as an opportunity to award a Young Musician Award every year. And so last year, the recipient was a young man by the name of Riley Minor. And one of our benefactors really was compelled by his story, and I have to say took him under their wing.
Right.
And this is Freddie and Susie Winthrop, and so they have an active connection to a group in Cambodia. And so before we knew it, Riley decides to take a gap year after high school and is currently living in Cambodia.
Wow.
with this group. And then that group, there's a gentleman, Arn Chorn Pond, who has also an amazing life story and speaks literally internationally. And this past fall, he made a stop here in Ipswich. And so we performed with him, and it was just an example of the kinds of connections that we're starting to make because of how we structured what we do.
That's again, that's some really cool stuff that you're doing to get back at the community and just help. That's very very impressive. So I think we all appreciate that you're doing this. I think it's important to have that kind of outlet and also that kind of resource.
Yes, yeah, no, and well, it's also a mindset that what I think distinguishes us as a group is we're not, and again, I don't want to, not speak well of other musical pathways, but we don't play the standard fare of Beethoven, Mozart. What we do is really different.
That's what I see, and this shows how little I know.
Yeah, that's why I'm here.
You hear orchestra, you're like, okay, yeah, you guys can play the Mozart stuff and the Beethoven, whatever. But not that I dislike it, but it's not my favorite. Yeah. So would I go out of my way to see it? No. But when you talk about the intriguing ways that you do it, the compositions that you do, and again, getting the audience involved or other people involved, like that's just a totally different thing. So I'm all in on that. Dan, before we close your portion of the show, I want to bring in someone else who worked closely with you on a kind of pretty cool, unique community event, Devil's Footprint Day. I've never even heard of that. I don't know a lot in this town. I'm pretty ignorant. But I'm working on it, trying to get better. So I would love to have Mary sit down with us and give some insight onto that as well. So, Mary.
Hey.
Thanks for having us.
Of course.
Thanks for stopping by.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. All right. So we know that this whole Devil's Footprint Day wasn't just a photographic curiosity. It was a collaboration. And that would be you and Dan and some others as well, I believe, were involved, right?
Yep.
So anyway, Mary, you're a community, what I would call a community builder, right, from Georgetown. And you worked with Dan to turn a quirky local legend into a real celebration that hopefully families will look forward to every year. Welcome to the Sane Estate.
Thank you.
All right. It's great to have you. All right, so let's go back to the beginning. And how did Devil's Footprint Day actually get started? Was this something one of you pitched to the other, or did the idea evolve out of one of those, this is ridiculous, but let's try it moments?
I'd say more the latter than the former. You were brought on, unfortunately, kind of last minute, but it ended up working out really well.
It did work out, yes.
The idea came to me because I had heard of the story years ago when I first moved here, and it kind of checked all these boxes that I like in a story, like it had action, it had interesting symbolism, it was local, it was like a little bit absurd, the idea of just like the devil and a preacher just kind of duking it out on the town green. And it was fun, but I didn't actually read the story until last December, or even maybe January of this year. And when I read it for myself, I realized that there was a date attached to it, which usually for folklore, there isn't a date. It's just kind of once upon a time. So having a date attached to it kind of made me go like, wait, this is such an awesome story. It's such a unique piece of history for this town. Like, my mind immediately went to, why isn't this a local holiday? And then, I just started coming up with all of these kind of crazy ideas and then talked to the right people. Meredith, who was at Devil's Footprint Day, she didn't get as much kind of audience time as myself or Reverend Rebecca or Catherine, since she was running a lot of behind-the-scenes operations. But she and Isaac were kind of the people that I happened to pitch the idea to, and they were both really on board. Meredith was super supportive. Isaac reached out to Reverend Rebecca, some other folks, and that's kind of how a lot of us came together and kind of started building the idea.
That's a lot. It's a lot. But good for you, though. Like, amazing. What an inspiration to have that sort of just pop in your head and go, hey, we can do something with this. So that's pretty neat. So community events, they don't take off automatically. Something basically has to collect. What moment, either during planning or first run, made each of you think, hey, this is kind of a thing, and maybe it will become a real tradition?
I think let's do this in the future. We kind of talked about that a lot because, during the planning stage, we had all of these awesome ideas. My grand vision for the first year, which was obviously very unrealistic, was to be able to throw a piñata off of the roof of the church, very representative from the actual story, which for a lot of logistical reasons couldn't actually work. So we kind of we're constantly kind of saying okay, well, maybe next year or maybe in upcoming years. But I don't think it was really until the event and kind of realizing how much people were engaged and how well it went that we really realized, oh wait, we're I think we're committed. I think we're going to go do this again. It was kind of always there, but I think that was when we really were okay, let's go.
Did Dan write a composition for it?
Oh, you should.
Yeah, well,
I'm being sarcastic.
Yeah.
Dan's not a composer. But it worked, I thought, anyways. All right. So you two clearly bring in different creative strengths to this whole thing. What did each of you learn from this during the process, and was there anything that genuinely surprised you about working together?
Well, I would say what surprised me the most was the audience engagement. I thought the questions that were coming during the kind of the Q&A from the panel were very thoughtful and very, and again, I didn't have a lot of expectations, but I was saying, oh, that's a pretty good question, or that's a very thought-provoking question, and I really wasn't expecting that. And I have to say, I was a little, I guess I'd say, intimidated by the other panel members were so accomplished in this space. Literally, the guy who wrote the book on the folklore was there, and a professor from was it Salem State?
Salem State,
was,
yeah.
and Rebecca, and so it was a very high-powered intellectual panel.
Yeah.
And that was fun to be part of.
So yeah, I was in the audience, and I was definitely intrigued by the whole panel discussion. I thought it was a pretty cool way to set it all up, I thought. So whoever watched that discussion, I think, had a better time watching the reenactment, I would think, because it was all set up. Well, that's great. So another example of Ipswich collaboration right here, you two guys. And I know that you live in Ipswich, but your heart is here, right? Is that essentially the deal?
Yeah, I don't see myself leaving anytime soon.
Why would you?
Yeah, why would I indeed?
So there you go. All right. So Mary, obviously we're going to be talking more with Mary Kelly next week. Well, this has been fantastic, Dan, and really appreciate all the input and the amazing things that you're doing. But before you leave, we've got something else we need to do, and it's called the lightning round.
I'm very excited.
I can tell you are. And in this round, what we do is we ask you some pretty, serious, stupid questions that have zero relevance to anything.
Oh,
But we just want to see
those are my favorite kind.
Exactly, mine too. We want to see if you're on your toes.
All right.
Right? So you had all that stuff prepared. It's like, I know all that.
Yeah.
We're not going there. All right, number one. True or false? If you think outside the box long enough, people assume you're half in the bag.
Depends on the bag, depends on the box.
There you go. Okay. Is it true or false? You gotta say true or false.
Oh, but that would put me in the box.
Oh boy. He's gonna be a challenge, folks. All right, fine. Number two. If people call you the real deal, does that mean you're cheap?
No, that's a term of authenticity.
See, I was going for the literal aspect of deal, right?
Well,
you got that? It's a little
know.
dry. I know. That wasn't my best.
I'm saying the very first thing that's popping into my head.
That's fair, and that's okay. Great, we're good then. All right. Number three. After building a bureau from IKEA, what is the appropriate number of mysterious pieces left over?
4.
Is it? Oh, that's not it. It's multiple choice. I should
All
say.
right, okay.
Is
Go
it
ahead.
1, 5, or I built it wrong because I have none?
No, the answer's still 4.
It's still 4.
Yeah.
Is it based on experience?
Yeah, absolutely.
think I would go there too.
You can tell the number of IKEA things I've built by the drawer full of parts that I have.
Yeah,
and
like
divide by 4, and that's the number.
the stupid peg with the thumb screw. You know, you're like,
Yeah. Well, my favorite is when you build it and you realize you put the one board at the beginning backwards.
And
so
then you
you
gotta
see
start
and then you got to take the whole thing apart to just flip that around.
because the stupid sticker fell off.
Yeah.
That wasn't A, that was D. All right. Number 4. If opportunity doesn't knock, should you jiggle the handle?
Yes. Kick the door down.
Kick the door down. Be aggressive.
That's right.
You know, don't take no for an answer. You know, pretend you're UPS. Or it's like, well, or FedEx, because FedEx are the ones that throw the envelopes at the door.
Yeah.
UPS puts them down, right? I don't know.
And Amazon takes a picture of it, so you know it's there.
Yeah. All right. Star Trek. Let's talk the original Star Trek.
That's the only Star Trek.
All right. Oh, all right. Turnabout Intruder. Crappy episode or the best episode?
Historically significant, as it was the last episode.
Yes.
Debatable. There's a famous trivia question as to how many times Kirk was duplicated. And so if you are deep, you have to debate that question because was he really duplicated or was he just transferred? Again, if you want to split the hairs. I give that episode a B-.
Interesting. There is definitely 2 camps.
Yep.
That either are no or yeah. It's cool.
Okay.
That was a good one. I'll take that down. I do appreciate the insight. I didn't know that trivia, so there you go. All right, true or false? The squeaky wheel gets the grease because we don't want it to go off the rails.
No, it's because you know, it's how do you get noticed in this world? And sometimes you have to squeak.
Yeah. In other words, we're not feeding the beast to keep it docile.
Correct.
All right. And last, but not least,
Okay.
if the journey is the destination, would GPS tell you to get lost?
If the journey is the destination, would UPS tell you to get lost?
GPS.
Oh, GPS. I would say you would have turned your GPS off long ago.
Because you knew the
You're
destination.
You're on a journey, and what your actual coordinates are makes no difference.
Well, that actually is true. Yeah, that's what I was trying to get at. It's like, yeah, your GPS is gonna be like, okay, fine, get lost then, and just enjoy your drifting around and doing your thing.
That's right.
All right. Well,
What's my score?
I'm gonna call
In
it
the
six
lightning round.
6.5.
6.5. All right.
Yeah. Well, again, Dan, this has been fantastic.
That's been fun. Thank you.
Become one of the quiet connectors of Ipswich. Someone who documents, organizes, leads, and helps bring the arts to life. Thank you for all the work you do. And thanks for joining us on the Sane estate. Where can listeners find your photography and follow Orchestra on the Hill's upcoming concerts?
So we have a website, theorchestraonthehill.org. I like to think we do a good job of promoting what we do. So we will get in the newspaper. Usually for a concert, you'll see our banner over the highway.
Okay.
I would say if you're on social media around Ipswich, you see my photography. I would say, that's we promote ourselves fairly aggressively, pretty much around concerts. But if you visit our website, you can sign up for our newsletter, which means you'll get a lot of messages right around the concerts.
There you go. So there's a lot of ways.
A lot of ways.
There's a lot of ways.
I consider
I didn't hear about it.
I consider a failure if you don't attend, you don't attend. But I consider a failure if you didn't know about it. And so we try to make sure that at least people have the option to make a choice in their life.
Make a choice.
Yes.
Because that's what life is, a series of choices. And they're all yours.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
free will. Still a thing in this town. Tune in next time when we'll talk more with Mary Kelly to see how she makes Ipswich a better place even from the next town over. And hey, if you're sitting there thinking, why doesn't John ask me to be on the show? Well, they've been waiting for you to ask me. The first me was you, just to be clear. Anyway, the Sane Estate is always looking for new guests. Butchers, bakers, rule breakers, and fakers. Well, maybe not fakers. Candlestick makers. Is that still a thing?
It is.
Okay, cool. So candlestick makers, as well as other business owners, moaners, zoners, artists, civic leaders, people feeders. What's a...
It's a purple people.
I don't know. I just was trying to rhyme. Historians, valedictorians, volunteers, all right here. We'll even give politicians a try, as long as they don't lie. Anyone helping shape life here in Ipswich, we want to talk to you. How? Email guest@saneestate.com or visit saneestate.com to apply. You bring the story, I'll bring the questions. Mondays on YouTube on the Sane Estate channel. And ICAM Ipswich, our very own, who makes it all possible, will bring it to your living room every Wednesday night. Thanks for watching the Sane Estate and listening. Until next time, stay curious, stay kind, but most of all, stay sane.